Hi, everybody. Dory Ransom here with Be Great, aligning business strategy with soul and spirit. And as we are quickly approaching the Be Great conference in Seattle, October 23rd through the 25th, we're kind of ramping up our speaker interviews. And today we are with an incredibly talented, gifted, wise woman by the name of Molly Knight Forde. And not only is she a concert pianist, but she is also an incredibly gifted fifth dimension entity here on this planet. And I'm going to let her tell you all about herself and what she does and how you can work with her. So welcome, Molly. Thanks so much for being here with me today.
Thank you so much for having me, Dory. It's a real pleasure and it's an honor to be a part of this whole Be Great conference. I mean, it's just really exciting what's coming together because it's, you know, working with soul and spirit and from the heart. This is the way all businesses need to be. So it really is for everyone. But I thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. And most of my career has been as a professional classical pianist. And with that comes a lot of dealing with high pressure and performance. And I also think that creativity goes in parallel with spirituality. And I balanced my life way early on with spirituality, meditation to kind of counteract the anxiety of performance. But I had always had this as a kid, knowing there was something more. And so I've always been that kind of what's behind the scenes, what's here beyond what we can really see. And so I developed a big spiritual practice, really disciplined. I was in a Zen dojo for 6 years while I was at the conservatory in Paris. And so I developed techniques there that brought me through to something that made life absolutely enjoyable, in the flow, free of that kind of anxiety. And so I always teach music and perform, but what came to be was a career in spiritual mentoring. And I had done that always. We'd always had a meditation group. I met my husband in this meditation group, and this was a different kind of way of doing meditation. It was more out about in daily life. And so I really found it to be so effective. And after doing it for 14 years, started teaching. So that's what I'm doing. I'm bringing a very effective teaching online. And I have local things, but I do Skype mentoring with people all over the world, and they're specific meditations, but it's also about how to practice being aware and learning self-observation out in the world while we're doing, because it's really the basis for, you know, everything else that we do. You know, it's like what is our level of being and how does that come forward to people? So that's basically what I'm doing.
Right. How do we show up in the world? So what an amazing experience to spend 6 years in a Zen dojo. Just briefly tell us what that was like. What was like the day-to-day kind of experience for you?
Well, the funny thing is that I was in the conservatory, and so I was just looking for a yoga class, and I walked into this beautiful building with a courtyard, as you see in France and Paris a lot. And they had a studio. I did the yoga class, and then afterward, he said, "Would you like to stay for the meditation?" And I thought, well, I didn't know there was meditation with yoga, but he had an eclectic mix, and he had studied with a Zen master. And there were all the people in the robes, and there were some visitors too, like me. And we all, you know, walked in and sat facing the wall. And I just began to go crazy sitting there thinking, I can't sit still like this. I can't do this. This is absolutely crazy. And that was my first experience with it. Probably 3 months later, I joined the dojo, but as an adjunct, which meant that I didn't live far away from this place. So I would come there in the morning at 5:30 in the morning and do the meditations with the whole group. And then we would do a yoga class. Then I would go back home and, get ready for school, go to the conservatory, and then either an early afternoon or a later afternoon class, I would go back to do the yoga and another kind of what you call Kriya Zen meditation. And then I would go back every evening to close the day. So I was, not living in the dojo, but I was there daily. And I became very adept in some ways and still struggled, in my everyday way. It was a lot of going back and forth and still being in school. But it was so important to me. I mean, my life was such a mess before. And it started to bring real cohesion and peace. And I was able to start doing things and, not living such a dark life on the other side of being a classical pianist. I had such a dark side that was so self-sabotaging. It was so opposite of what you saw as somebody on the stage. It was just so disjunct. And so this was a really peaceful place for me to go.
What a gift. I just think about your words, living so disjunct, and that's true for most of the planet, is that we are not in alignment.
No.
We're not in alignment with our true purpose. We're not in alignment with our highest good. And therefore people are walking around in really dark places. Yeah. And yet there's hope, because there's things that people can do to swing out of that darkness into the light. And I love that that is the piece that you're bringing to people. And I think about life as a classical pianist, that was your career, and the intensity that comes with that kind of a lifestyle, and the pressure and the stress, and oh my goodness, I grew up as a dancer and wanted to be a dancer. And then I got to a point where I realized that no, I didn't, because of the stress and pressure involved in it, and that's not what I wanted. And I went a different direction. But and think about all the people in corporate America, all the people that own their own businesses, all the people that are out there traveling, either speaking or on a regular basis away from their homes, or performing on a regular basis away from their homes, and how challenging that can be. And yet not only did you stumble into this dojo, but you fully embraced it, learned the tools, and now you have all of these gifts that you are very prepared and willing and wanting to share with the world on how they can move through this life in a graceful way that doesn't involve living or dwelling in that darkness. So what is it like to work with you, Molly? What are the options to work with you? How can we? Where do we find you?
Right. Well, you find me on mollyknightforde.com, and this gorgeous website is about to be launched because I just redid everything. So it's within days, and there will be
exciting.
Oh, it's wonderful. I've been waiting for this. And you'll find packages on there, which are 6-week one-on-one. That's a weekly one-on-one. And then you have email access to me, and we have a private Facebook group that is pretty active with people giving their feedback, because part of this is me giving some themes or some ways to work out in the world. You go out and do it, and then on the next session, talk about what you observed and what you experienced in light of the exercise. So it really is all about how you maintain a type of awareness or an expanded attention out in the world, and then what you begin to notice on the inside. So, I do give a specific meditation in the beginning, and then we switch that meditation as things start to happen, because different meditations serve as different tools. If somebody needs more grounding, or if somebody needs to raise the level of their energy so that they're more sensitive to what's going on the inside, and they need to be able to see more. So I have specific meditations. There's a whole system. They can also do a 3-month package, which I think is so much more comprehensive, because you can start to make headway, and then we can go to the next meditation and take it to the next level. And this is really for people who want to take a spiritual practice and a meditation practice to the next level. I do take people who don't know how to do meditation and don't know anything about this, but they have to be a very serious seeker. There's a level of commitment to this, and so it's not always a good fit. I don't always take everyone. I'm not the teacher for everyone. There has to be this give and take that goes between the mentor and the mentee. And that's why I don't call it coaching, because I'm doing a lot more than just motivation and inspiration. There's so many coaches for so many things. And I could call myself a coach, but I feel like there's even more teaching going on that needs to be assimilated. So I felt like mentorship was more the term. So people can do a 3-month package or a 6-week package. And I have a free discovery call that anybody can do to see if we're the right fit. And I do it through Skype, so we can do it anytime, anywhere, as far as the schedule, but from anywhere in the world. So on my website, I'll have a button for free discovery call, and you can just go ahead and book it, and we can have a talk and see how this can work.
That sounds absolutely wonderful. And I love what you were saying, though, about not everybody's going to be the right person to work with you. And that's true of all of us in this line of work, that not everybody's the right fit. And we don't want the wrong fit to end up working with us, because it's not good for them and it's not good for us. So anybody watching this, I really encourage you to explore your options, what it is you're looking for. I mean, Molly has a really unique system that she has set up. I mean, who has had the experiences that she's had? Nobody has had the exact experiences that she's had. Nobody's had the exact experiences that I've had. So take the time and research and listen to what Molly has to say. And I mean, imagine this woman trying to figure out her life and coming from that really dark place and stumbling into a dojo that turned out to be so much more than just a dojo. Right. And her lessons learned are then your opportunity for deep transformational change and learning. So how beautiful.
One of the things that was so amazing for me when I got back to the United States and found this second way of working, and I studied with a teacher for 14 years. So I had the other teacher for 6, and then I had this one here for 14, and I started teaching with him. And the thing about these methods is that you can really get behind what's causing all the negative emotion. And we feel like we need to express a lot of negative emotion. We don't want to repress it. But in the end, when you can start to observe things that are going on within you, and all of negative emotion like fear and anger and anxiety and things that really leak your energy, they are caused by things that we're identified with. We're identified with certain roles, or, we glom onto an identification with I'm not good enough, or I need to be perfect, or those kind of things, as we're all working toward that. But when you can, in the moment, through attention, actually see the mechanism, it unlocks it. And so we have to first start questioning, is this real or not? And I can tell you that negative emotion is a red flag for identification. And so we study a lot of what identification means and how we get hooked. Pema Chodron has a great way of explaining this. And she calls it being hooked. And you're so in there that you can't see outside of your own lock-in about this. It's hard to explain in a way, but I'm teaching how to get unhooked and to see how we're in habitual mode. And that takes attention. So that's why I teach attention and awareness, which leads to the ability to see how the habitual reactions happen. And once you gain a certain force, you can stop before the reaction happens and go, I have a choice. I have a choice here. And there's enough energy there so that you can dissipate that. And that's what started to happen to me. And it absolutely changed my life. I mean, I was operating on highs and lows, and people would affect me in a great way, would blow me this way and blow me that way. And now it's really even keeled. And that's how I'm speaking about overcoming resistance at the Be Great conference. And I'm going to try to explain how this is, how I can overcome resistance, because I have so many examples of overcoming resistance in my life. I mean, it's one big, experience of resistance, but I don't experience it as that anymore. It's just, oh yeah, there's the bump, here we go. There's a bump, here we go. And so,
so you have much more fluidity in your life. And these are the gifts that Molly has to share with you. Every person living on the planet deals with resistance because it's part of the human condition. It's just part of being alive. So I encourage you all to do two things. I encourage you to get online at Molly Knight Forde, and that's KNIGHT, Forde, Forde, and it's Molly with a Y. And check her out and see what she has to offer and see if it's a good fit. And then I also encourage you to come to the Be Great conference, and you can see what that's all about at begreatcon.com. And it's October 23rd through the 25th here in Seattle. And you can come and see Molly live. You can come and see me live. You can come see about 20 other of us live and hear what we have to offer you and learn deeply and connect deeply. And we just encourage you to be great with us October 23rd through the 25th. And Molly, thank you so much for being here today and just sharing your experience. I'm so excited that this is what you get to bring to light to so many people at this conference. So thank you so much. You take care, and we'll see you in a month.
Okay, see you then.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.